So a lot of our companies are building with taste as a core principle, which a synonym might be quality here. So Steve Jobs famously said, quality is the best business plan. And Pixar is obviously a prime example of building with taste and, building a competitive advantage and dominating a market because of this. What advice might you have for founders who are building with taste or quality in mind?
Well, it's great to have like a North Star of that. Like that helps you decide whether or not to keep working on the movie until the last minute, because you go, yes, you do, because the quality is the most important aspect of that. Another thing that was interesting, just back, having the view I do of kind of fairly long history with Pixar. And I mentioned that Pixar was not a household name.
Yeah.
And another thing that Steve talked about was, I want Pixar to be a brand, right? The power of a brand is significant, right? And quality ties into that. And honestly, I think he was inspired a lot by Disney on this idea. That if you go to a Disney park, you kind of know that it'll probably be clean, it'll be fun, it'll be good for the whole family. He wanted to do the same thing for Pixar, make Pixar a brand so that if a family or audience member they see Pixar, they're like, I don't even care what the trailer is, I'm just gonna go see it. So I think it's an aspect of that quality part I think that's really valuable, which is if you can capture that idea of brand.
I think it works, by the way.
It's extremely valuable. But another aspect of that is authenticity. So we really lean into research and making sure that we're doing things so that if an expert in that particular area watched one of our movies, they wouldn't get thrown off. And the reason we use the expert bar is that if an expert doesn't think that what we're doing is BS, then audiences actually, even people that aren't experts, they kind of know. They will pick up on things that aren't quite right, even if they're not an expert in it. I worked on cars. I watched hundreds and hundreds of hours of NASCAR footage and dust coming off the back of wheels of cars, and it was just to get it right. We had we brought in some famous NASCAR drivers to Pixar to teach us how they drive. And one of the fascinating things from Darrell Waltrip, who was one of the kind of iconic NASCAR drivers in NASCAR history, was when there's a crash, he actually aims for the crash. So if there's a crash in front of him that's happening and he's behind the crash, he hasn't hit it or anything, he aims for it, because by the time, they're moving so fast, by the time they get there, the crash will be out of the way. Whereas if you try to avoid the crash, there's a better chance that the crash will move and then you'll run into it. So there's things like that just every little detail we add is to build that authenticity and truth, because audiences respond to that. It doesn't throw them off from it.